Good day, IT professionals. Today I'm going to deep dive into the service desk, the entry point for all users to begin IT service support and for IT to show its customers it has a solid support model. A strong service desk does not happen by accident. It's engineered. When you anchor it with key ITIL concepts, you are not just trying to resolve service disruptions or fulfill requests, but establishing a go-to portal for customers to seek help but provide solutions to their issues. You are building a disciplined, scalable front door asset into the IT world that elevates the entire service management experience. Hi, my name is Bob. I spent about 20 years implementing ITIL processes, primarily on the ServiceNow platform, where I was a platform owner for well over a decade. I am both ITIL and ServiceNow CSA certified. I create these videos to take the complexity out of ITSM and turn it into something practical, modern, and actually usable. If you want real-world experience backed by someone who's actually implemented service management at multiple Fortune 500 companies and provides some tips and tricks along the way, then you're in the right place. This course is designed for service desk owners, service management leaders, process owners, and service owners, where service owners are those who support servers, application, database, and the network infrastructure. By the end of this module, you will understand how a well-structured service desk becomes the single and reliable entry point for all IT interactions. It is the SPOC, or single point of contact for IT services. You will see how the critical services list is a key component in this model. Another item that you will recognize is operational impact of clear workflows, roles, and escalation paths. And you will learn how to mature a service desk and how it strengthens the entire ITSM ecosystem, and it is tightly coupled with the incident management practice. So let's kick things off. The service desk is the operational front door to IT. It is where users' needs and service disruptions meet for a well-structured and reliable support model, and where critical issues are routed with clarity, control, and proper escalation. The service desk transforms scattered requests into a consistent, high-quality support service model that strengthens the entire IT organization as a whole. And you know the drill. Do not forget to subscribe and comment as you see fit, as it helps my channel. I also have a link below to my website where I post these presentations, offer free guides, and provide consultant services. So what is the IT service desk? Well, when we talk about the service desk, we are talking about the single point of contact for every user interaction with IT. This is where incidents and requests are logged, triaged, and resolved or fulfilled. But more importantly, this is where the user experience is shaped. The service desk protects business operations, communicates during disruptions, and ensures issues are restored within service level targets. If the service desk fails, the business feels it immediately, and IT has egg on their face. Typically, there are four common models we see in the service desk hosting area. The first being a co-located desk embedded with users, which is somewhat common in smaller organizations. Another model is geographically dispersed desks that appear unified, a bit tougher to manage, but some global organizations require it. Most commonly is a centralized IT service desk supporting multiple sites from a single call center location. And finally, similar to the prior, centralized but has key locations in different time zones that produce a follow the sun model and provide 24/7 global support. Each structure has its trade-offs, but the goal is always the same: consistent, reliable support regardless of the service desk location. Some are misled or interchange the terminology incorrectly of the desks, but there definitely is a difference between a service desk and a help desk. The best explanation I can provide is a help desk is tactical, it fixes things, whereas the service desk is strategic. It manages the entire user experience across all IT services. A mature service desk integrates with incident requests, change, problems, CMDB, SLA, and the communication practices. This is why ITIL recognizes the service desk as a formal function. It's not just break fix. It truly is the front door and face of IT. I created a chart below here to assist in understanding the differences, the scope, and focus of each. As you can see, there's a big difference between the two. And going forward, I will reference the service desk in this discussion and hope you also use it as the de facto standard in your organization. The overall purpose of the service desk existing is to keep the workforce productive. It restores services quickly, fulfills requests consistently, and communicates clearly during outages or disruptions. It also acts as an intelligence hub, capturing trends, identifying recurring issues, and feeding continuous improvement. Ultimately, the service desk defines the reputation of IT. I've seen cases where the service desk runs smoothly, which is easily recognized in the support effort, fulfillment, and restoration. And I have seen other cases where the service desk was lost and not aligned as events were being processed or tried to be services restored, which is embarrassing when IT promotes they have their support processes in order, but they can't back it up with a solid desk. So, it is imperative that your organization spends the proper amount of time to build, maintain, and improve the service desk to make your support model efficient. The key action that the service desk performs is to capture and log every interaction from end to end and from the end user experience, perform initial triage, and attempt to restore on a first contact resolution basis, which means every interaction must be logged accurately with the proper user information after the user is validated as a known user, a security checkpoint. But assuming that they are legit, then the agent would document the username, contact information, title, etc., which in ServiceNow that would be contained within the user table. Then each event must be triaged and prioritized correctly. Agents attempt to resolve on the first contact basis and escalate when needed. They seek the proper documentation on the next steps to provide support. Most often, if the agent cannot resolve it, they'll go to an L1.5, we call it, at the service desk, or kind of a SME, if you will. If they can't resolve, then they'll engage in L2 or L3. At the end of the day, the service desk is the single point of contact to engage and responsible to attempt resolution or fulfillment. Let's talk about the people who make up the service desk. A level 1 or L1 agent handles the initial intake, triage, communication, and becomes the first contact resolution person. I would recommend no more than 15 minutes of this handling activity for an L1 agent before it gets escalated to an L1.5 or a more senior analyst at the desk. Some refer to them as SMEs or subject matter experts. This person takes on more complex issues with a higher skill set and coach the L1 team after the fact so they can improve their L1 initial support effort. The service desk lead or supervisor manages daily operations, the queue health, escalations, and performance. They keep a heartbeat on the overall desk and ongoing events that come into the team. The service desk manager owns performance, staffing, and strategic direction. Typically, the lead or supervisor are on an per shift kind of basis and report up into an overall desk manager. The incident lifecycle coordinator, known as an ILC in some cases, ensures incidents move efficiently through the process. They really shine when more critical incidents occur, such as a P1 or P2, and drive to closure. Some organizations keep an ILC member to drive those events, or other larger organizations add a specific role called a major incident manager to work P1 or P2s, or a MIM. When deemed a critical business impact, again, refer to the critical services list for guidance, then this major incident manager leads high impact events, coordinates bridges, communication, and works with the various teams for rapid restoration. These roles ensure that when something breaks or disruption, technically defined as a service disruption, that the response is structured, predictable, and business aligned. Some organizations may expand on these with additional roles, but I found that these are the basic structures that will work in any organization to at least start with, with proper skill set being the key as a starting point, where each role contributes to stability, quality, and ultimately increased user satisfaction. Please note, I've created a resource calculator in the link below with the desk agent size. Be sure to check out the Service Desk Resource Calculator on our website to help size your team. That link is in the description below. I've seen cases where some get confused with the difference of an incident and a service request. To put it in plain terms, an incident is an unplanned service disruption or a disrupted event of a service, whereas a service request is a planned, pre-approved ask to fulfill or provide some resource. I added a chart to show the breakdown of each. As stated, incidents are unplanned interruptions with the goal to restore services as quickly as possible, whereas the service requests are planned, pre-approved asks, the goal to fulfill within agreed lead times. Both are important service desk activities to process, but each have their own process to complete, meaning different workflows for each. Misclassifying this leads to SLA failures, support delays, and frustrated users. Getting it right is essential. It's key that the service desk and the user community both understand the difference between an incident and a service request. The critical services list is tightly coupled with the service desk and a must-have artifact to reference for each agent within minutes when a multiple user event or outage occurs or is reported. I would suggest the service desk agent have an open window with the CSL to reference within seconds, as the CSL is one of the most powerful tools the service desk would leverage. It tells an agent or analyst instantly whether a service is critical or not, what priority to assign, what escalation path to trigger, and assignment. The best part of this is it removes ambiguity and ensures P1s, and some companies do P2s as well, events are handled consistently. I've pointed this out prior and cannot stress this enough, that if a service is on the CSL list, it must have monitoring, paging, communication rules applied and defined for an escalation path setup. Be sure to watch a full lesson on the critical services list with the link below. And I also provide at the end of this video a link to that module. Let's walk through a real example of the service desk workflow. I'll take Active Directory or an Active Directory event as the example. A user reports that they cannot authenticate. The service desk logs the incident and checks the CSL to see if AD is on it. It turns out that Active Directory is listed as a critical service and flagged as a P1. With that being classified as a critical service, the agent at the service desk triggers the escalation workflow, notifies L2 and L3 support teams, pages engineering if needed, potentially another third party that supports the service, and alerts the incident manager. The incident manager, which may have some interaction with the ILC person if that's in your organization, make sure that there is a handoff to the major incident manager, which most companies have that. The MIM will take point to get a technical bridge open if one has not already begun. And I've seen multiple times where multiple bridges get engaged. Make sure to consolidate to one and get the right teams engaged and begin the communication cadence accordingly. Once the issue is resolved, the service desk validates with the user that the service has been restored, AD is working again in this example, and resolves the incident record. Two other processes occur with post-incident management review, PIR, being completed within 24 to 48 hours, what's fresh in people's minds, and the initiation of a problem record for root cause analysis. Major critical incidents should have both. I have an entire lesson on the problem management practice that I encourage you to watch. As shown, this is a good example of a workflow for AD outage, but can be intertwined with other events as well. And the steps may be somewhat different depending on the organization, but the actions that transpire are very similar. Of course, each organization will have its own spin on this, but it provides the basic idea of workflow and an example of what to do. Key metrics that matter for the service desk. Every organization will have its own set of metrics to track, and their target values may differ, but included are 6 core metrics that I personally think you should have in your organization from the get-go and add others as needed. These metrics tell us whether the service desk is performing well, and of course push them to target to achieve better. Response time for an agent on a given priority. Resolution rate of incidents resolved within the SLA target. Service availability. I have a full lesson on that in the service level management and check my content library for that. First contact resolution sets the tone for service desk and agents working event. The more resolved on the first contact, the better the desk appears. That'll be about a 70% rate, but your desk will depend on how you can improve on that. Mean time to resolve is tied closely with restoration targets for each priority level. And for example, I've seen P1 set to 2 hours, P2 set for 4 hours, P3 for the next business day, and P4 set for up to 5 business days. Every organization has a different tied to their support structure and their contracts. But each organization will have their own set of targets based on the services, the resources that support those services, and of course the service and agreement with its customers. CSAT's a good one. It's a marker where you look at how the user community, if they're satisfied or not with the service desk and how they're performing. I know this one may be a hard pill to swallow. And I've seen sometimes there's reluctance when trying to implement. But the CSAT score does help gauge how the desk is performing and should not be taken lightly. Remember, these are not just numbers. They reflect productivity, stability, and user trust. Strong performance builds confidence in IT, and is it not what we IT professionals want ultimately to achieve? Let's not forget that a weak performance erodes IT quickly. Set meaningful metrics and make sure that they help the service desk shine. A mature service desk is governed, not improvised. You must enforce standards for classification, prioritization, communication, and escalation. Look at trends and recurring issues that need a deeper dive to reduce or eliminate the reoccurrence. Make sure those knowledge base articles are current and up to date. They will help the desk agents big time if they are kept current. Safe to say that ongoing audits need to occur not only on performance, but also on the resources themselves at the service desk. I know this one's a tough one, but you need to make sure each role has the right skill set and the responsibilities that they are assigned on a daily basis. If they're not meeting the mark, then you know what you need to do. You may need to just adjust as needed or repurpose the resources, as we say. In the end, continuous improvement is not optional. It's how the service desk will evolve and stay aligned with the business needs. The service desk is the front door, but the service desk does not operate alone. It integrates tightly with incident management, major incident management, monitoring and alerting, service levels, change enablement, CMDB, the request process, and problem management. All key practices that work almost in unison to build the operational support model. This integration is what creates a stable and predictable IT service management ecosystem. The service desk is the main hub, and everything flows through that. This discussion tends to get some people a little bit on edge, as what we saw a service desk be a decade ago is not the same today. The service desk is evolving, and it's changing on how it's resourced and supported in most organizations. Shift left strategies, for example, is the big push. Let the L1 solve or resolve those issues before they go to L2 and L3 teams from a basic support burden. Dump that extra work on them if you can, but they've got to be trained to do so. This is not a bad thing, but it means that the service desk agents are not just a catch and route organization. They need to have the skills to resolve on a first contact basis. Becoming more self-sufficient with knowledge-based articles and skill sets is vital. We live in a world of increasing AI and chatbots being added to the mix. I know, I agree that AI is kind of a strange one, but it's also, we all need to embrace it as it's not going anywhere. The trend will help provide additional value as long as you understand the security behind it and how it helps your organization. Offshoring reduces costs. There's no way around it. If you offshore, make darn sure that you have contractual services to meet your names in writing, those old organizational goals are met, or financial penalties are assessed, and that there's a proper skill set that goes along with the people that help support your organization. Lastly, I'm hearing the wave of this XLA replacing SLAs. Not sure where that's going to go, but just wanted to mention that because that is starting to come out more and more as I talk to organizations. To close, I've gone through many aspects of the service desk and how your organization should design it. Keep in mind, the service desk is the single point of contact that restores productivity, delivers consistent service quality, and strengthens the user acceptance or the user experience, It integrates with many core ITIL practices and drives continual improvement to protect business operations. While tools and organizations may vary, the core flow remains consistent. The service desk is one of the most important assets that an IT organization has, and it needs to be solid. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this lesson today, it's that consistency at the service desk is not an option. It's the key to basically IT survival with the user community. You now understand the purpose of the service desk, the workflow, the roles involved, and how the practice operates in real environments. As always, this presentation will be posted on our website, see in the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I encourage you to look through my playlists for other related ITIL practices to improve your overall IT service management rollout. And be sure to check out my ITSM content library on each of these practices as I post them. and visit onboardingitsm.com for more coaching. I also provide consultant services if your organization needs a little handholding in your IT service management journey. I appreciate your time and have a great day.